Generally, people use the term the fruit of the poison tree in legal issues where the evidence become inadmissible due to the way it was obtained, a tainted evidence. But here, I am using it to draw a parallel with the GOP. Trump's 2016 win lulled the party into a false comfort, making them believe that they can still win using the policy of reduction. They started to believe that they can win by building a coalition on top of two shrinking demographics, white voters and evangelical voters. They completely ignored the fact that Trump won the 2016 election with a razor thin margin of 77,000 votes in the Midwest. They chose to ignore the fact that the national popular vote was running far away from them with each presidential cycle. The fruit that Trump offered, that a policy of reduction instead of expansion, was good enough, they believed. They continue to ignore the alarm bells that rang loud and clear during the 2018 midterms. So, after winning the 2016 presidential election with voters who could be seated inside a football stadium, this is what they got. 4 years of Trump and all the nonsense we went through. The difference between Clinton presidency and Donald Trump was just one stadium full of people. That's all it took. And the grand old party was hypnotized with that illusion. This is the return the GOP has to show for embracing Trump. They lost the presidency, they lost the Congress, and now they have lost the Senate. Trump is the third incumbent president to lose since World War. He is the only president to lose despite spending more than $1 billion, and possibly the only president to lose despite spending more than the opponent. And that record is going to stand the test of time. It might be centuries before we have another president who outspent the challenger and still lost. Now the GOP has lost two Senate seats despite spending more than $400 million in 159 counties. That's an investment of what, on an average of $2.5 million per county? And if that cannot get you over the line, that do in a state that has voted red for decades, then I really don't know what else can. The days of voter suppression may have already reached the logical end. And what the voter suppression tactics have done so far is it has made people, especially people of color, to understand the importance of their vote. It has forced the younger generation in the Democratic Party to take these efforts seriously. They are lawyered up and are now well prepared to take on voter suppression efforts. So every recent effort that was implemented so that it can be made harder to vote has been met with an appropriate force from the other side. The activists and lawyers did not win every single one of these fights, but the fact that they were fighting made people more aware. Sometimes even bringing in celebrities like LeBron James and billionaires like Bloomberg to step in and help. And all of those efforts are now starting to pay off. The number of people who vote in the election over the last 10, 20 years, I believe, has gone in only one direction, and that's up. The United States is not the white Christian land it once was. It is becoming racially and religiously diverse. We have a woman of color as the Vice President of the United States. We have a black woman aspiring to be the governor of Georgia, a state that still uses a runoff system to stop black candidates from rising to the top. So, for a party that has made its mission in the last 4 years to label and separate people by their color, by their immigration status, by their religious identity, the country is slowly becoming harder and harder for them to hold. It is not that GOP does not understand this dynamic, but they still believe that they could continue in the path of reduction and win. And now the results in Georgia has shown that this policy, the policy of reduction, may not be good enough to hold their line even in the south. It's Georgia and Arizona in 2020. So how many more years before it becomes North Carolina and Texas? Not very long. David Perdue's loss is a huge warning sign for anyone who wants to follow Trump. That is not the path you want to take. Despite Biden defeating Trump, Purdue thought it would be a great idea to run further to his right since November 3rd, making it easy for the moderates to shift their loyalty to Ossoff. There is no other explanation you can give for Purdue losing margins in Republican strongholds in Georgia. He won the race by 88,000 votes on November 3rd. Now he is looking good to lose by more than 40,000 votes. Running to the right leaves your center exposed, and the Democrats are sitting right there to give you a whooping. And why are GOP candidates running to the right? They are doing so because of Trump, to appeal to his base, a base that includes QAnon and people who listen to men like Stephen Mann. And that's why I called Trump as the fruit from the poisonous tree. It's so tempting to eat, and the moment you take a bite, you cannot stop. And if you don't stop, then your future will perish. Still don't believe me? Ask David Purdue. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like it, please subscribe and help the channel grow.